Well, thanks for having me on.
Oh, absolutely.
I am Joan Wade, the Executive Director for AESA. I've been in this position now for a little over 5 months, so it's still quite new. Oh, yeah, old time. But prior to that, I was 15 years as a CESA administrator in Wisconsin, so I do have that background to bring to the table, as well as a former legislator. And I don't know if you knew that, David.
I did not know that.
Yes. I was served in the state assembly in the Wisconsin state legislature for a short period of time.
Wow.
Thought I'd get into politics and love it and stay, and I got into politics and I thought, this is really interesting, but it's not where I want to stay. So
Not for me.
back to education and ended up in the ESA world.
Not know that.
Yeah. So great to have you guys doing this at our conference. We so appreciate it.
Well, and we appreciate that you guys are letting us do
No,
this.
it's fabulous.
We had so much fun, and we got to visit with Dr. Steve Wyckoff for an extended period of time this morning, and then a couple of vendors we've talked to. So yeah, it's been great.
Good.
We love coming here, and of course I love coming here because it's a lot like, I know this sounds corny, but it really is a lot like coming home. I mean,
It is.
I've been to so many of these now that, I know a lot of these folks, by face, by name, and
Absolutely.
so it's
Absolutely.
very cool.
That's one of the best things I think about of our annual conference is the networking and the relationships that get built. So many people say it's family, and I hear that over and over again, and it's like giving people hugs and sharing, swapping more stories and success stories, and that's the best part, right? People share their best practices, and that's what they learn in the breakout sessions, and we have fabulous keynote speakers. We just heard from Brad Wade, who did a great job. It's so interesting to hear from a teacher's perspective that is really into using technology with kids in their world, and then sharing that on a stage with a lot of educators on how we can do things differently. And I mean, he showed League of Legends, and I don't know how many educators in the room had never heard of League of Legends, but when you see it, and that's the new playground, that's where our kids are playing. So it's a pretty interesting world. So we love to come and learn new things and network with folks as well.
Well, we had just gone over some of the breakout sessions that were going on right now. That's one of the things we like to do on here is just let folks know what's going on. And there's a session that talks about migrant preschoolers and getting them educated. And being from Arkansas, that's one of our big deals. We have migrant farmers that come through all the time, and that's not necessarily one of those things that may have even crossed our consciousness. We said, we need, these are some students we need to be able to reach out to, and here's a session on that where they're sharing, with another state is sharing how that works. And like you said before, where we can network and share ideas and get information, I don't know what my director's doing right now in terms of which session she's in, but if she's not in that session, she can look back through this later and then reach out to them and go, oh yeah, this is probably something we need to look at. So
that's right.
Cool, really.
And being able to connect with people when you get back home, so you get an idea. Or if you weren't able to attend their session, and we have their handouts online, so you can go online and get them and take a look at them or contact them. I think that one of the best things about ESA executive directors and leadership teams is they want to share their craft, right? So call me when you get home, and yes, I will help you all I can if you want to learn how to do what I do and do that cross-pollination across the country. It's really, really, really exciting.
That's very, very cool.
That's the real fun part here is when if I go to a session, I hear 20 people say, yeah, we've got to get them in. That's my favorite part. Like, these people are going to be working a lot this year.
Right.
Yes. All right. So, again, congratulations on your new role.
Thank you.
So, what do you see happening in terms of AESA without necessarily revealing your whole hand, maybe? Are there some things that you have planned or that you would like to see that? I hate to use the word changes, but still, there's a new sheriff in town. So
there you go. Yes. Well, when you bring in a new leadership team, there is always opportunities to think of things differently.
Sure.
While AESA is 40 years old this year, as I'm sure that you've talked about, we have a great foundation, a very strong foundation that was built by our forefathers, and we so appreciate that. And our hope is to take it to the next level. So we have spent some significant time this fall doing redesign work on AESA and the association, and some things that we would like to see done differently.
Okay.
So for instance, we set before us 5 bold steps that I'm going to be talking about pretty soon
Cool.
in my keynote speech, which is coming up over our noon hour today.
Yes.
But I'll give you a little heads up.
All right. That's right.
So
we get the sneak peek.
Yes, you do. A couple of the really important things of those bold steps, I believe, one is affinity groups. So we have a lot of people that would like to cross-pollinate across the country, and we used to think of them as job-alikes. But what we've discovered with job-alikes is from state to state, association to association, the titles don't always mix. So
Sure.
while I might have the same title as you do, my job is very, very different. But when you think about affinity groups, it's people that have like topics. So I really want to have a learning community around distance learning or online learning, or I want to have one around literacy, or what you name the topic. And so we're going to try to this year develop some affinity groups around some topics and find leaderships groups across the country that want to lead those conversations online.
Cool.
And then, and I know some really good techie guys that I'm looking at that might be able to help us with that.
That seems very pointed.
So, because we're going to want to do it online, and then we're going to want to follow up at the annual conference, getting those affinity groups together next year. So, if you want to meet face to face, there will be opportunities for that too at our
That's
conferences.
cool.
So, I think that's pretty exciting. There were some folks that came out of the pre-conferences that we had this year that said this would make a great affinity group, because we want to keep talking about this inspired leadership, or we want to keep talking about the business model strategy that we just learned with people that are at the same place that we are in, and how can we learn together, even though we're not in the same association. So that's one of the big changes that I think will be coming down. How can we help people to network beyond the conference? So I think that will be a really exciting piece.
Yeah, that's going to be very cool.
Yeah, the second thing that we're doing is really taking a look at our national advocacy work and how we do that work at the federal level. We've really started working tightly with our state association executive directors with what's going on in the various states across this country, and helping us put together a platform that we can take to the national level. And then we're trying to hone that down by about February to really think about what are the 1 or 2 things that we want to push at the national level for educational service agencies. We don't want to be reactive, we want to be proactive. So what is something that we can take across the country that every state will want to participate in, and we can push at the national level. So those are just a couple of big things that we really see that are going to change.
Huge, really. I mean, considering where AESA started and has been kind of for a while, and then now to see, at least a couple of the things that you're wanting to do to take it to the next level. That's pretty expansive, and that's just 2 of them. So if you want to hear more, you'll have to go to the lunch.
That's exactly right. Which I need to go. I need to get ready for. So thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you so much for stopping. I appreciate it so much.
We'll try it again.
And again, thank you for letting us do this. I mean, really, it's so awesome, and we love coming out to this conference.
Exactly.
When you start the road show, call us. Travel.
I love that.
That's right.
I appreciate that.
That's right. That would be awesome.
That's to me, that's the beauty of ESAs working together.
Yes.
I get that response for so many people that we want to help, we want to be involved, we want to do it, and together we can accomplish anything.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.